This is the news in brief from the United Nations. In Sudan, peaceful protesters are being killed or injured on a near-daily basis by security forces. The warning comes from the UN Human Rights Office, which cites statistics from the Central Committee of Sudan Doctors, reporting that 71 people have been killed by state security forces during protests since October. On Monday alone, demonstrators were brutally dispersed in the capital Khartoum, leaving 7 protesters dead and dozens injured. Amid the state of emergency, military authorities are continuing a campaign of arrests and detentions of protesters and journalists. The clampdown on freedom of opinion and expression also appears to be intensifying. At least 8 journalists have been ill-treated by security forces, says the Human Rights Office, calling for an immediate end to the unnecessary use of force and for prompt, independent investigations. Reprisal airstrikes by the Saudi-led coalition on the capital of Yemen, Sana'a, are reported to have left at least 5 civilians dead, said the UN Human Rights Office on Tuesday. According to early reports, those killed were members of the same family, including 2 women and a child. The latest airstrikes followed missile and drone attacks claimed by Houthi rebels, which have been battling the pro-government coalition since 2015. The attacks happened in Abu Dhabi, a coalition partner, on Monday. The attacks on Abu Dhabi's international airport and a nearby industrial area were reported to have left 3 civilians dead. In recent days, there have been dozens of airstrikes launched by the warring parties. The fighting has damaged critical infrastructure, including telecommunication towers, water reservoirs, and hospitals. A 5.3 magnitude earthquake struck Cadiz district in northwestern Afghanistan on Monday afternoon. Initial reports indicate that 26 people have been killed, 4 people injured, and hundreds of houses damaged or destroyed. People who lost their homes are being hosted by their relatives and other members of their communities. Food, shelter, and heating materials are most urgently needed. The UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs is leading an interagency team assessing needs in the field. In the meantime, agencies are providing initial emergency support. Alexandre Soares, UN News.
This is the news in brief from the United Nations. Last year, 2021, was one of the 7 warmest years on record, despite the cooling effect of La Niña phenomenon, the UN Weather Agency has confirmed. The announcement from the World Meteorological Organization, WMO, was reached after crunching data from 6 leading international datasets. Last year was also the 7th consecutive year when the global temperature was more than 1 degree Celsius above pre-industrial levels, WMO said, meaning that the planet is edging closer to the limit laid out under the 2015 Paris Agreement on climate change. Global warming and other long-term climate change trends are expected to continue because there are record levels of heat-trapping greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, the agency said. Since the 1980s, each decade has been warmer than the previous one, said WMO, and this is expected to continue. More than 500,000 people have lost or been pushed out of their jobs in Afghanistan since the Taliban takeover, the UN International Labour Organization ILO has found. In a warning about huge losses in jobs and working hours since the de facto authorities took control last August, the ILO said on Wednesday that women workers have been hit especially hard. By the middle of this year, job losses could even reach 900,000 as a result of the economic crisis in Afghanistan, the UN agency said, and restrictions on women's participation in the workplace. Women's formal employment levels are already extremely low by global standards, but ILO said that they are estimated to have decreased by 16% in the third quarter of 2021, and they could fall by up to 28% by mid-2022. To Tonga, where it's been reported that the runway at the island nation's international airport is now clear of volcanic ash and could be operational by Thursday. 3 people have been confirmed dead after an undersea volcano erupted off the Tongan coastline on Saturday, creating a tsunami with 1-metre-high waves that crashed into communities. An update from UN Aid Coordination Office OCHA said that information from outlying areas is slowly coming in. It is now clear that the sparsely inhabited islands of Mango, Fonuifua and Nomuka bore the brunt of the impact, but OCHA said that evacuations are underway. In its latest emergency update, the UN Relief Office also confirmed that water supplies have been seriously contaminated by volcanic ash, but that the authorities were working to assist those in need. Some 84,000 people have been affected out of a total Tongan population of 100,000. Daniel Johnson, UN News.